Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Liz. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the ultimate moving out of state checklist. These are kind of things that you don't want to forget about, things that you want to remember on your moving day or either months before. That way you don't stress yourself out last minute. So these are going to be tips and tricks that we'll recommend for any of you guys who are moving out of state. So first thing first, we're going to be talking about essential things. Be sure that you either apply for jobs way ahead than getting here. Like if you're moving out of state and it's not for a job, make sure that you're applying for jobs like probably like 2 months before, just because I feel like it's so much harder now to find a job. Make sure that you're applying for those jobs 2 months before. That way by the time you are in your new state, you're able to find a job more easily, and then you're going through the interview process and all of that by the time you move here. And make sure you have housing options like way ahead of the time that you want to move out of state. That way you're not stressing yourself out. I started looking for apartments 4 months in advance, just so I can have an overall idea what kind of apartment complex I was looking for. And by the time I wanted to do my move-in date, I kind of had some sort of idea where I wanted to move, such as like neighborhood, my price range, and just the kind of amenities I wanted. So make sure you're doing your research for apartment complexes way before. And then another thing you want to do is update those important documents such as driver's license. Like for me, for example, I made my appointment way ahead, like when I was in Boston, Massachusetts, and it took 3 months for the soonest available here in San Antonio, Texas. So it took a big while just to get all my documents all set up. So I made an appointment. It was back in like 2 years ago. I made an appointment while I was in Boston. That way I could get as soon as possible. And my appointment was 3 months after I moved. So make sure you make those appointments way in advance. And then for the next category, it's going to be paperwork and logistics. Make sure you gather all your important documents, such as like either marriage certificate, your medical records, and all of that. That way, when you move out of state, you are not stressed again. Like when you go to your doctors, you have all your medical records with you. You don't have to like request and go through this long process. Make sure you have all of that even before you move. That way you are more prepared when you move out. And then another thing you want to do is update your insurance company. Make sure that if you're moving out of state, you're updating the address and just making sure you have the insurance for the right state and all of that. That way you don't go through this long process of going back and forth. Make sure you're updating all the important documents, such as like all the bank accounts, insurance policies, your phone bills, anything important. Make sure you're updating those addresses because it's very, very important and that could hurt you in the long run. And then another thing you want to do is either cancel or transfer utilities. So for me, for example, I had to cancel all my utilities back in Boston and just kind of reinstall them with new companies here in Texas, just because they don't have the same kind of utility companies here. So we have like a complete different internet, complete different person or different company for, or what's it called, electricity, water, and all of that. We have different companies. So just make sure you kind of do your research before. And then another thing that I did that was really helpful was forward mail. So that helped me a lot, just because a lot of my letters, like my important letters, were still going to my old address. But forward mail was kind of showing me a picture on my email of things that were coming, and they were just kind of updating them to my new address. So that helped a lot. Make sure you go and do forward mail. And then one thing you want to do weeks in advance is packing and purging. Make sure that you're making things for yourself way easier. Make sure you get rid of a lot of things that you don't need. Make sure you start organizing, because I honestly didn't even think I had so much stuff until I actually sat down and started packing. So I started weeks in advance. That way I went ahead of myself and don't like overwork myself, because I was working still while I was moving. So every day I did a little like room or a little closet, because even on closets I like opened and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know I had so much stuff. So make sure you start way in advance and then just declutter, get rid of stuff, donate, and do things like that. And then another thing that's going to help you is this I don't even know what the word is, but kind of break apart your furniture way in advance. If you're not going to need it, like let's say your couch or I don't know, the TV stand, if you are going to be taking that to your new state, do that way in advance, like kind of disassemble everything. That way, by the time on your moving date, things will be so much more organized and so much ready for you. And it will just give you an overall idea of how fast things are moving along. And then this new category is going to be moving day and beyond. So for final touches, make sure on your last day of packing, make sure you look through all the documents and you have everything that you need before you move out of state. That way you don't have to be requesting documents from out of state. That sometimes takes a while. Make sure you're going through all those documents, making sure you have everything that you actually need before you go and do your moving day. And then one last thing you want to do is confirm all arrival times. Like let's say like if your car's getting picked up and moved to the new state, confirm all these arrival times and all of that, moving companies and all of that. That way you're not stressing yourself out, and you can kind of confirm all those important dates with them and the timing and all of that. That way you're not waiting till the day of, waiting for either the moving company or whoever you're waiting for, and just being unprepared. And then another thing you want to do is ensure your new utilities are going to be started before you get there, because the last thing you want is to move to your new apartment and you see that there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no heater or AC, whatever it is. Make sure you start your utilities maybe a few days before, that same day, whatever you need to do, but make sure you start your utilities before you get there. And then obviously settling in. Once you get to your new apartment, you want to go ahead and start little by little. Go ahead and unpack those boxes. Make sure your important documents are put away properly. That way you're not going back and forth and that you can't find them or anything like that. And then if you haven't done so already, at this time it's important to start the process of other like utilities or any things that you have to change the address. So go ahead and do all of that on your first day. That way throughout the whole chaos of moving, you're not forgetting important things to do, things that you have to do. Because I felt like the first month, it was a lot of work. It was just like a lot of unpacking, a lot of things I had to do. So if you can kind of break apart your task, that's just gonna help you in the long run. So go ahead and do that. And then that's pretty much everything for today's video. I hope this video helped you. So this is basically the kind of checklist and things that I thought of when I moved out of state. So these are things that I wish somebody told me. That way when I go and moved here, I didn't have, because sometimes I had so many things that were such a hassle. So these are things I'm telling you guys, that way you don't go through the same thing I went through. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below what kind of things you did to prepare yourself before moving out of state. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.